forward. So we'll call this meeting for the City of Hollister Planning Commission to order for Thursday, July 25th. So the first item we have here is swearing in of officers. Okay. We got Dave, Chris.
Oh, you're going down in the front. Down in the front.
Shorter route, yeah.
Okay, so you can hold this one in your left hand, and you can hold this one in your left hand. So you have to raise your right hands. Just so I can get anything. So raise your right hand. Repeat after me. State your names.
Chris Alvarez.
Greg Harvey.
David Huboy.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jerry.
It's free to sign. There's two, one for you. You're all official.
Okay, congratulations, gentlemen, and then we'll move on to the next site, election of officers. So that time to
Yes.
re-elect. And
Yes, for chair and vice chair. So,
Chair, entertain a motion?
yes, please.
I'll nominate Commissioner Gabriel for chairman.
And I'll accept that.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Alvarez or Harvey? Alvarez second? Okay.
Then we need a vice chair election, or
Correct.
okay.
I'll make a motion to, do you want to do it?
Sure.
To elect, I haven't been following as to who maybe has been recently, but I'll nominate Commissioner Alvarez for vice chairman.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
And then just those two positions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Next item is the verification of agenda posting. Abraham, I guess we look towards you on that one.
Yes, Chairman Torres, thank you. The agenda was posted on Friday, July 19th at 4 p.m.
Thank you. All right, so new Commissioner Harvey, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Chris Alvarez.
Here.
Commissioner Carol Lenore.
Present.
Chairman Torres.
Here.
Commissioner Hiboy.
Present.
Commissioner Harvey.
All right, Thank you. Approval of minutes for June 26, 2013. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at those minutes? Any comments, questions? None?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve minutes of June 26, 2013.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Communication from public on items not listed on the agenda. Do we have anything?
No
speakers?
speaker cards,
All right.
Chairman Torres.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and move right into the public hearings. Item number 1 is the Growth Management Allocation 2009-8, filed by George and Nicole Rakovich, requesting 6 residential units at Cienega Southside Road in R1 Low Density Residential Performance Overlay Zoning District R1L PC, San Benito County Assessor's Number 57700001 and 57700002.
Thank you, Chairman Torres. In 2009, the Planning Commission awarded the applicant 175 units, allocation units, basically for the Rakovich 22 project located at the San Benito Street extension. 100 of those units were awarded as affordable units on a 5-acre portion of the property. In addition, the proposed project identified a small community or pocket park, if you may, to be constructed. The developer who is considering moving forward with the project has requested that the park element be removed and replaced with 6 additional units.
The request for 6 additional units or lots in return for removing the pocket park has merits. The small park is not part of the city's park master plan. The goals in the master plan are to create larger 5-acre parks. The smaller parks tend to be a financial and maintenance burden to the city resources. The Rakovich 22 project is not a private development, therefore the park was not intended to be dedicated to the city. The park was intended to be dedicated to the city. So because it's not a private development, the city would then receive that park, and for financial reasons, the city would not be able to maintain it. If it was a private development, they would have an HOA or some other mechanism to fund the maintenance of that park. Staff is recommending that the park that was originally proposed is eliminated and replaced with 6 residential lots. Staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the resolution awarding 6 allocations to the Rakovich 22 project. Are there any questions for staff?
Yeah, how close is the park, the next park? 5 acres seems like
I
a
don't
lot.
have the exact distance, but I believe Lad Lane Elementary School, they do a lot of partnership with the schools, and that would be the closest.
And I'm not sure,
In the high school.
Lad Lane, it's in the county's jurisdiction. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if that, because I know the city
Not sure.
and the school district have a partnership to use the parks from the school. I'm not sure if Lad Lane is actually within the county's, I think they're in the county's jurisdiction, but if not, Rancho San Justo would be one of the closest ones as well, about a mile or so to the north. Yes.
Any additional
I know,
questions?
It seems
it's
like
unfortunate.
yeah.
When you have your staff cut back so badly, they can't do those little parks anymore. It's been like that for a few years.
Oh, I was on the
Yeah.
parks.
Oh, I
commission.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love parks.
yeah,
I don't care where they,
I know.
you know, I mean,
It's unfortunate.
Yes, our department, our public works department, has really specified in all of our development review committee meetings. That's one of their prime comments. You know, who's the maintenance of these parks, and it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I agree with you, Commissioner Lenore. That's one thing that they.
you know, I
indicated.
just see, you know, there's so many things we can do to keep it low maintenance. You know, Dave, help me out here. I mean, isn't there, you know, so we don't have to, you know, so much green or more, I don't know.
Water, less.
Yeah, less
using
water,
maybe
well,
not a
Well,
lot of
there is ways to
I
lower
mean,
the
even if we
maintenance.
cut it down a little bit. you know.
There is a landscape material called Nomo, and South County Housing used it on Vista Meadows, and that is one possible way that we could go to suggest as a landscape alternative for some of these parks. And I agree that I think it's unfortunate that that we, even though it's less than 5 acres, I mean, a little pocket park would have been nice at that location. What's planned for the lower left-hand corner there? Yeah,
Apartments?
those are apartments.
So as part of the allocations that the project has received, 100 multifamily units, either in the form of apartments or condominiums, would be there, would be at that site. We actually did receive a proposal for a tentative map on that staff is currently working on, and they have not showed them, they have not identified them. However, there's a statement indicating 100 future condominiums, but they can go either, as long as it's multifamily, 100 minimum 100 units on that area.
And
There is a-
for each of those, they have their own private space requirement.
They have own private space requirement, open space requirement as well, common open space,
Okay, common areas.
common areas. There is also, it's not to compare it with the park or anything, but there is a sliver of land that kind of goes parallel. Yes, to the north of that 5-acre area for, it's basically for drainage, and it's going to be as open space.
Do you know how often the Parks and Recreation, do they update their master plan? You know, what
Do you have that
time
information,
period is
David?
for that?
Since like 2004, the last time it's been
So what
updated.
is, how often, how many years do they go and they're updating? 7 years,
Does that sound about right, Dave? About
like the general plan? No?
we could find out and get
Okay.
back to you.
Because I do think that Commissioner Alvarez raised a good comment there about possible alternatives to lower maintenance. I know the reality of the situation is that we are taxed and that the city maintenance is doing the best they can, given the resources that they have. However, you know, I agree with Commissioner Lenore. It's really unfortunate that.
Sure.
How big is Las Brisas Park? That little neighborhood park? And how many acres is this that we're giving?
The total acreage for this property is
Yeah.
22, a little bit over.
No, the park area,
1 acre.
the pocket park. How big is it?
6 lots around.
It's 1 acre.
Oh, so it is
Yeah.
1 acre?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Las Brisas is what, about that size? They have volunteers to take care of it. I guess there's no way we could speculate that might happen, huh? You know, they got some volunteers that do that part. It just seems like an awful lot of units not to put something in right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially given the 100-unit complex
Exactly.
right next door, or proposed.
And then, you know, if they do go anywhere, they're gonna have to cross a lot of big streets, you know, and I know it's gonna come to at least bite me. That, hey, how come you didn't put a park closer? You know?
Yeah.
I gotta live with these people for another, gotta hope, another 50 years.
Those
You
are
know,
very-
so I wanna make sure that I'm, you know, raise the question of
Those are
why
valid
isn't there
points.
a park there, Mr. Alvarez?
Absolutely,
So,
those are valid points as well.
You know, I mean, I don't know why the maintenance, that's jobs for them, you know, we need to keep these
But
guys
there's no
working.
men. They're all gone. There's so got 2 or 3 guys in parks.
Mm.
The problem is the staffing's all gone.
Oh, yeah, I'm,
Yeah, you know.
but, you know,
I
we
worked
can-
at the
we
yard,
can-
so I
yeah.
kind of know.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
you also got to keep in mind too that the park fees that are going to be generated by this development, I don't know if that's going to even help or
Yeah.
you know, because each single family unit, each
Mhm.
multifamily unit pays into that park fee.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
when I was on plan, because we wanted to, you know, raise that fee, you know, because it was ridiculous that we didn't have enough people to take care of those parks.
what's the park impact fee for a single-family dwelling? It's not too much, huh?
We don't have it with us, Commissioner Lenore, but yeah, impact fees won't pay for the staff.
They'll cover it,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
just for the land and the impact of the facility, but not for staff.
Are we to expect more of these requests in the future? Because that's just not a good thing.
Exactly.
If we're gonna build houses, we gotta have a little park here and there. I don't want it to become a regular thing to ask, we don't wanna do that park. Somebody's gonna have to do one.
Yeah,
City's gonna need to take care of it.
yeah. We're kicking the can down the road and, you know, I mean, if we build a big park, it's gonna cost maintenance for that park, you know, so I don't see, you know, I don't care for it. You know, where does it stop?
We're still,
Exactly.
we're still at staff report, right? It was going to have
Yeah.
a public hearing on this?
Yes, so
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and open that up. No other comments or questions, I guess?
No.
No.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open that up to public comment. Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
Commissioner, Chairman Torres, we don't. We have no cards.
Okay, so open that up at 6:15 and close it at 6:15. Bring it back to the commission for additional comments or future additional discussion on this item.
For one, I find it hard to accept the reason for the discussion, that it's not big enough. I mean, then again, they say they can't maintain it. I just have a lot of difficulty accepting that rationality.
Any additional?
No, I feel like I agree with,
Okay.
Dave.
Do we have a motion on the item or any? Oh yeah, I'm looking for a motion on the item. No?
Well, I'm going to make a motion to deny the request from the applicant, but it's what's the nature of the growth management allocation 2009-A.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. I'll move on to item number 2, Site and Architectural Review 2013-5 and Variance 2013-1 by Jesse Barr, 710 San Benito Street, requesting approval of a variance for removal of requirements for common open space and reduction of private open requirements with site and architectural application for the renovation of a second-story existing building currently used as an office space into 6 studio apartment units on 2 lots totaling .26 acres within the downtown mixed use of the city of Hollister. CEQA's categorical exemption. Abraham?
Chairman Torres, you may have noticed that no plans were attached to this item on your packets, and there's a reason for that. The applicant was actually working on finalizing the plans. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to submit, and so at this point, we're going to ask for a continuance. We should be able to have everything ready by next Planning Commission meeting in August. But at this point, we would ask the Commission for a continuance until August for this item.
Thank you. Do you need a vote on that, or just basically
Would,
hold
would
it off to the next consensus?
Yes, would you be able just to, yeah. Oh, thank you, Mary. Just glad she's here. She's helping us out. We would, because it is scheduled as a public hearing, we would need to at least open the public hearing
Okay.
and I believe leave it open until, yes, until
right.
we bring
So
it back.
we'll first,
Okay.
we'll open that up for public comment. Do we have any speaker cards on this item at 6:18?
Chairman Torres, we do not have any
Okay.
speaker cards.
Thank you. We'll close that
Well,
public comment.
do we
leave it
have to
open.
keep
Oh,
it
we
open?
leave it open, I'm
We
sorry.
have to keep it open, I'm
So
sorry.
you don't have to re-notice it.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So we'll go ahead and leave that open and continue item 2 for the next meeting in August.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we'll go down to item number 3, use determination 2013-1. Robert Infeliz, requesting the Planning Commission to determine that the open space area identified in the plan titled Conceptual Site Plan prepared by San Benito Engineering and Surveying for the lot at 1170 Apricot Lane, further identified as San Benito County Assessor's Parcel Number 0220 060 011, meets the intent of the 2005-2023 City of Hollister General Plan to create an open space buffer between the property and the existing ponds to the west.
Thank you, Chairman Torres. The applicant is requesting the Planning Commission to determine that the open space area identified on the plans that you have before you submitted by San Benito Engineering and Surveying for the lot at 1170 Apricot Lane, that it meets the intent of the 2005-2023 City of Hollister General Plan to create a buffer between the property and the existing ponds to the west. As you had mentioned, the lot consists of 21.84 acres The applicant would like to pre-zone and annex the lot as low-density residential, consistent with the general plan, with the exception of a 100-foot wide buffer along the west property line to be designated as the open space for that lot. The 2005-2023 City of Hollister General Plan Land Use Map has identified approximately half of the property as low-density residential and the western half as open space. The City Council of the City of Hollister, at its regular meeting of April 6, 2009, approved Resolution Number 2009-40, adopting a mitigative negative declaration for the City of Hollister San Benito River Greenway project. The mitigative negative declaration included a site plan illustrating the proposed project components consisting of two parking areas, one towards Bridge Road and the other on Apricot, off of Apricot Lane. And then a paved trail approximately 10 foot wide extending at or along the base of the industrial water treatment plant perimeter levee between the two parking areas, as you see on one of the attachments, or just going to do us a favor of putting it up on the screen right now as well. The approved mitigative negative declaration identifies the Apricot Lane parking area encompassing approximately 1.5 acres of that lot, and it would consist, this lot is right beneath the subject property, and it would consist of an ingress and egress point from Apricot Lane with approximately 15 parking stalls, also informational signs, a visitor's kiosk, and possibly the installation of drinking water fountains. The lot to the north is the subject property, and since the property to the south will be one of the main trailheads, staff feels that the subject property with 100-foot wide buffer as presented to you in the plans would meet the intent of the open space designation of the general plan, as it was discussed in our development review committee as well.
Approval of the land use determination for the property meets the intent of the 2005-2023 City of Hollister General Plan open space goals and policies adopted to preserve and protect open space in the natural environment in the following ways. The open space area on the property can also function as a connection with the future trail property area. Property to the south, pursuant to Open Space Policy 1.1, intended to connect open space areas between neighborhoods. The open space area would preserve its natural value while permitting educational and recreational uses compatible with these resources pursuant to Open Space Policy 1.5. Coordination between the City of Hollister and San Benito County for the River Park Trail pursuant to Open Space Policy 1.7 and Open Space Implementation to Measure E. Encourage provision of access to open space areas in the design of adjacent development, and secures access paths as part of subdivision approvals pursuant to Open Space Policy 1.8. Through the development review process, preserve open space areas, encourage the dedication of open space areas that are adjacent to public open space pursuant to Open Space Implementation Measure H, and coordinate recreational and trail use along the river pursuant to Land Use Policy 9.4. With this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request to receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal and approve the attached resolution making a determination that the open space area identified in the plan titled Conceptual Site Plan, prepared by San Benito Engineering and Surveying Incorporated, dated as received by the City of Hollister July 17th, 2013, for the lot at 1170 Apricot Lane for Robert Infelice, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 206011, meets the intent of the 2005-2023 City of Hollister General Plan to create an open space buffer between the property and the existing ponds to the west. Any questions for staff?
Comments, questions?
Have we noticed anybody that we're gonna do this, or like the neighbors, or is there anybody around there, or Apricot Lane?
At this point, Commissioner Alvarez, we did post it as a, we did put it in the paper. We did not send a 300-foot notice. We do have a pending application for an annexation. This property is actually within the county's jurisdiction. We do have a pending application for an annexation. As a matter of fact, in 2009, it was part of the multiple island, county island annexation project that is actually at the point where it came to the City Council and it received approval to initiate pre-zoning. But since then, there has been changes in staff, and really we haven't been able to proceed with the pre-zone of all the properties, including this one here. However, the property owner, along with the applicant, has decided to pursue this on their own right now. And when we do the pre-zoning public hearings, we will notify everybody within the neighborhood within 300 feet minimum.
Just want to make sure that they have a chance to, yes, no, I don't want to put this down anyone's throat and, hey, how come I wasn't told, so, okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Any additional comments, questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the public comment period at 6:25. We have any speaker cards on this item?
Chairman Torres, we do not have any speakers. We do have the applicant here, and the engineer. I'm not sure if they want to speak on the project, or in case you have any questions.
All right, we'll go ahead and close that public comment period at 6:26 and bring it back to the commission. What is the pleasure of the
Give them up
commission?
the
on this item?
resolution number.
Resolution number 2013-15.
I'll make a motion that we move that we adopt resolution, the PC 2013, approving use determination 2013-1 for 1170 Apricot Lane, as stated in the resolution.
Okay, we had a motion and
We
a
have.
second.
I heard Commissioner Harvey first.
Okay,
Okay.
motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That item passes.
I love the color renderings, the maps that you put in here. I'll be keeping those.
Yes, that's for
We're
you.
not- yeah.
That's for you.
I like
And
that.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it did. A lot of them. I really looked at it. It was good.
Yeah, and
Good job
hopefully,
there providing that information.
absolutely. Those were part of the mitigative negative declaration,
Yeah.
and we really hope it goes through. I mean, maybe not soon, but hope eventually we
Maybe
hope
on
to
my
have that
lifetime
trail.
would be nice.
That would be nice. I agree.
Okay, let's move on to new business, West Gateway Beautification Plan. Board of the former City of Hollister Redevelopment Agency approved a professional services contract for preparation of a streetscape beautification plan for the West Gateway entrance to Hollister on San Juan Road in 2009. The project area extends the east end of San Juan Road Bridge of the San Benito River to West Side Boulevard. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the West Gateway Streetscape Beautification Plan to the City Council.
Thank
Mary?
you, Commissioners. As you're aware, the City of Hollister, when they approved the 2005-2023 general plan, they adopted a new land use designation for the corridor for this plan called West Gateway, and in some ways it envisions a transformation there. Previously, the zoning was commercial, highway commercial, and industrial. The update to the general plan envisions a mixed-use corridor. When there was workshops for the zoning ordinance to implement that new zoning designation for the West Gateway, some of the things that were heard from the public is that was a former state highway 156 before the bypass or the new alignment was built. It's 84 feet wide, and some of the things we heard from the public is that the traffic is too fast. If we think this is going to be a mixed-use place, we need to do something to calm it down because it's not safe to cross. We also heard that people were confused about location. Is it 4th Street? Is it San Juan Road? What's the name of this place? What's your address? Where are you? At the workshops, Bill Rivera said this is something that the redevelopment agency can address, and in 2009 the agency approved a bond with 3 projects. One of them was the Fire Station 1. The second was the West Gateway Streetscape Beautification Plan, and the third was pavement overlay. The agency board approved a contract with San Benito Engineering to prepare a beautification plan, and they proceeded with meeting with property owners and doing some community outreach, and a conceptual plan was presented to the agency board in 2010. they were proceeding along pretty well with this. I guess you don't need the whole story, but then there was the proposal to dissolve redevelopment in the state of California, and when that legislation, the budget bill, was introduced, it essentially prohibited certain activities. Some of them were entering into new contracts, and we identified the need in 2010 to amend the contract to complete this, but we've been frozen for a while. We found another way to amend the contract, so we're proceeding with now finalizing it, and we are looking to adopt the plan. Some of the features of the plan really will make this what they're calling today now a complete street, because it will add components for bicycles. That, again, that large wide array will provide for a Class 2 bike path. That means it's striped. It's not separate from the road, but it'll be on the street with a striped lane. There will be the addition of on-street parking and bulb outs. That's where the intersection will jut out between the intersections. Also, the dual left turn lane will be replaced with the landscape median. One of the concepts of this plan also implements the general plan because it envisions having coordinated intersections. You can see on the slide here, it's showing there's different properties, and identifies the location for the intersections with traffic engineering in mind, appropriate spacing between intersections, but still assuring access to property. We do have a letter from a property owner. I don't know if you've received it.
Yes,
They
it's
have
been passed out.
expressed a concern about that, and that's from the Sanchez property. You could see on the slide there. They are concerned that they would have a shared access with the property that's to the right there. I think it says Valia property? Walia property.
That's the one we just did the site
Right,
architectural on, correct?
right. One of the changes also is at the entrance to the city, at the Graff Road intersection, the traffic signal there will be replaced with the first traffic circle in the city of Hollister. And that would be a traffic calming measure, you see. There's a coordinated plan for landscaping with this between the bridge and that traffic circle. It's more of a mix of natives. The Rotary already has planted some natives on that corridor, and this would begin that transition, calming traffic with the gateway entry to the city of Hollister. And then moving along beyond Graff Road, the type of landscaping would change. Each block would be planted with Newport flowering plum and crepe myrtle. And in the landscape median, there would be a mix of October gray maple, Chinese pistache, and southern live oak. I think I've covered most of the improvements. I don't know if you have any questions on the beautification plan, but we're recommending that you direct staff to forward it to the city council for adoption.
Just have a small comment. The selection of the flowering plum tree, I've got like 4 of them on my property, and I tell you, a tree hugger like myself, I find it enigmatic that I'm saying that it's not a good tree. I wish I could yank every one of them out because they just drop their fruit all over the place.
It's a Newport flowering plum. We could check that, but one of the things that was done during the development of the plan is it was taken to the city of Hollister maintenance staff, the crew that is directly involved with maintaining our street trees and the landscaping, and it was shared with them to determine that it would be lower maintenance plant selections, but we could check to see if it's a flowering plum, I don't think it would have fruit.
They're fruitless.
That is fruitless? Okay. Well, because I have flowering plum trees and they bear fruit all over the place.
Well, we could verify that.
Okay, if you could verify that, I appreciate it.
The crepe myrtles, I'm a little concerned, you know, I've seen them on 4th Street. They get bugs in them, and then they don't spray them. And they drip all the black stuff on the sidewalk. I just want them to, I mean, I'm sure they've seen it. I was surprised that they wanted to do the crepe myrtles. I just think when they get the disease on them, they need maintenance. If you could just mention for them, if they do go that route, to just keep an eye that they don't get the bugs dropping the black stuff. You know, they gotta have some spray once in a while. They know that the crepe myrtles do that. The parks guys. Just something for them to heads up.
Okay. Any other comments,
Yeah,
questions?
also, you know, on the other side of the bridge, that's county, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I work in Prunedale, so I'm coming off, you know, right there, and people are, I mean, jamming. They think they're still on the highway, you know, till they get to that stoplight right there by Graff. So are we gonna do any, I think we should calm, you know, try to work with the county somehow, you know, to calm that area.
Well, that
down.
round thing's
One of
gonna
the-
slow them down.
Yeah, I know,
I hope.
Yeah.
But that stoplight doesn't slow them down sometimes,
Yeah.
you know?
I think signage is one thing.
Mhm.
One thing is that because there will be the median and the landscaping, that it's found that that combination sometimes helps to calm traffic down. We'll need signage to advise drivers that a traffic circle's coming, that they need to slow down.
Mhm.
We're also, on a very preliminary basis, trying to, there's quite a few overhead power lines, and there's a source of funding from PG&E that can be used to underground the utilities. And we're on a very preliminary level exploring with the county, doing a combined application to try and underground the utilities between the Highway 156 today and about Miller Avenue. And perhaps there could be some motivation on their end to explore some landscaping in conjunction with that. But
Okay.
we would look to signage.
Mhm.
But the traffic circle would require that they slow down, because it's not a question of whether or not it's green, you have to slow down.
So, oh, sorry.
What's the issue with the Sanchez's? The last sentence, they say we believe this may inhibit a developer's concept for accessing the property on the frontage of our parcel. What's the deal there? And is that gonna be on council level? They're gonna decide that? Because we have this letter, and whose decision is it gonna be?
Well, what we're looking for, and we think it's in the general plan, is a plan for coordinated access and shared access between the property. One of the things we heard over and over again, I think you heard, some of you commissioners, when we were working on the update to the zoning ordinance to implement the new general plan, was that people wanted to have shared access between properties. They didn't want to have walls between properties. They wanted
But the gas station there has the frontage on the San Juan Road. So
Correct.
what's the shared access? It's gonna be on the west side of the property?
well, their access is 22 feet wide on the west end of their property, and when then the Sanchez property is developed, it will create a 44-foot wide approach, which is the approach at each of these intersections. So it would be expanded to accommodate, and then it would be a intersection with access to the north and south also.
Oh. That's the plan? Okay. Okay. And they don't wanna do that?
I think what they want is the flexibility to have their driveway anywhere. But what we're trying to avoid is a situation like Tres Pinos Road. Just think about, I think it's, what is it, the Super Taqueria, that section
A lot
there.
of driveways.
That's a section
Yeah.
where there
Okay, I
wasn't
get
a
it.
plan for coordinated access.
All right.
And it's not pedestrian friendly. It's,
That's not,
I
that's
think
for
there's
sure.
a lot of money now being spent throughout the nation trying to undo those mistakes, to make streets more complete so they're more usable for everybody.
It's safer.
Yeah.
Again, the council will be responsible for deciding the Sanchez's request.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one comment I had, Mary, on this. So I'm assuming that this beautification plan looked at and does a overlay of proposed improvements when it comes to the utilities, public, I mean, the
Yes, the
forecasting.
project engineer is here if you want to hear
Okay.
directly from her.
Yeah, because
but
I'm
it
just,
does.
you know, again,
Yeah.
as I mentioned about the roundabout, getting people to learn how to use a roundabout is an issue, obviously. But then the bridge as well, from the bridge, I mean, that bridge has seen better days, obviously, and, you know, coming into town there, you know, just like Commissioner Sanchez too, is, I mean, people are definitely going pretty fast through that bridge, two-lane bridge. So just thinking of the infrastructure, you know, overlaying of this beautification plan to the existing infrastructure improvements. You know, if we're sending this to the council, that we've at least taken those proposed improvements into consideration when we're talking about even the bulb outs, those types of things. And so a follow-up question on that. So once this is approved by City Council, any development, any proposed development would have to follow these guidelines when it comes to those bulb outs. And now, how is that? I guess that's going to be a huge coordination issue. If somebody's coming in and they're just putting these bulb outs out in the middle of the street when the rest is not even built out. I'm assuming that's or is that going to be they just plan for that and just don't do that until they have actually a substantial amount of.
I think it may be on a case-by-case basis. We're
Okay.
looking for different pools of funding to see how far we can get along to put in the improvements. One of the things is the property owners will be able to, their project frontage improvements should be plan-ready because they're improvement plans.
Right.
I think David may be able to speak also to that, but I think it may be on a case-by-case basis because there may be some situations where it would help to have those bulb outs to start beginning that transition.
Okay.
And the benefit they may want is having that on-street parking between the bulb outs that would be right in front of their property. Say it's a mixed-use development or commercial development, and we want the commercial uses more to the street frontage, not set back behind a parking lot. They might.
And a reason I bring that up, a case in point, was exactly as Commissioner Eleanor had mentioned, the gas station. Now, would they be required to do that bulb out now and have that? I mean, that would be just.
I'm
I
not
think
familiar with their conditions of approval. So, David.
Okay, just real generally, as projects come in and they're under review by the engineering department for how they interact with public infrastructure, including the roads, we take a look at all these plans and all the different master plans, and you know, whether it be parks or water or sewer, storm drain, and this would just be another plan that we would be looking at. And so as they come in, one of the things that we'll tell them is that this is where your driveway will be because this is where it was planned, approved and adopted by the city council, because we have the right to to require locations. We don't have a right to prohibit access, but we can tell them where access can be. But that's all part of enforcing the general plan, which is what we have to do. As far as the gas station, the 156 Market, I think is what it's called, or
Yeah,
something like that. We've already worked with them, and there's provisions for when a joint access is necessary that they will be able to modify their site to fit into what this project is requiring for the joint access. This actually, the access that's proposed will actually be very beneficial to both parties on both sides of the property line, as it's there, the developer knows where it's going to be, it's less property, and they actually will have a more developable site as it goes across the frontage on San Juan Hollister Road. So we have looked at that. I think one of the things that Mr. Avera had talked about during the presentation of that project was how it's going to interact with the gateway beautification project.
Dave, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. It's a little hard for me to tell at the scale, but my criticism of San Benito Street, you know, you have the curb and you have the sidewalk and then you have the trees. Instead of having the curb, trees, and then sidewalk, where you have a nice mitigation buffer between the pedestrian access and the curb and all that traffic, is that what we're seeing here? Are we going to see curb, street trees, then sidewalk? So you have that
There would be
that
street trees in
protection-
the bulb outs, and then.
protection. I can't really tell from on your street trees and sidewalk. Where does the
Yes.
sidewalk
It looks like right
lay
here.
in with the trees?
So really hard to see. It looks like a curved landscape.
Is it-
sidewalk. But that's just
That's-
the bulb
that's-
outs.
There's just a bulb out, yeah.
So you're looking, you're asking where the street trees are relative
To the sidewalk, right? Yeah.
It's hard to. So this yellow line here is the curb at the front of the bulb out. You can see that it, comes out to the street. It narrows it to one lane here between the median and the bulb out. And then it drops back up there where it goes to the parking. So these trees are centered, not even, they're slightly closer to the road, but there's probably a good 4 feet between the tree and the curb. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I know that in the general plan, that the ideal design with the street trees, curb, and sidewalk layout is to have the trees between the sidewalk and the curb, so it acts as a protection.
And we have that where we have the parking. Those street trees up there where there's the off-street parking are up against the curb. And they're also, they're also a potential source of LED because you can have a curb cut and allows the stormwater to go into the street tree. But here where you have the bulb outs, you've also got to consider, the VTA has requirements about the buses and stuff like that. So we don't want the trees out at the edge of the curb there.
Right,
We
not
want
at
them
those
back a little bit.
locations, right.
So I would say, other than the bulb outs, the trees are at the curb like you're asking, but at the bulb outs, they're not.
Okay, yeah.
Good.
As long as you have a protection barrier between the sidewalk and the curb. Yeah, I think that, I know that's in the general plan.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, any additional comments, questions? Okay, so I guess do we need to open this up to public comment? Yeah? Okay, do we, 6:47, and do we have any speaker cards on this item, I guess?
No, there are not.
None? Okay, we'll go ahead and close it at 6:47, bring it back to the commission.
There's a lot of good work that's been done on this. Overall, it has a nice impact. I mean, I'm with Carol. Hopefully, it's going to be done within my lifetime.
Really needs it. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a nice addition
Yeah.
to the West End.
Yeah, certainly. I commend Ann and working on this. Did a good job. The roundabout, I can understand the reason for the roundabout. It's a traffic calming, you don't have to make that left turn. But it does take a little getting used to.
For sure.
Something new for us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something new. That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
See it all the time on the East Coast.
See how it
It
works?
will be fun to watch.
Okay,
When
we
I-
need to slow down.
When I go up and see my older daughter in Bend, Oregon, they have those roundabouts there. And when it's snowing, I find sometimes a little
Skinny?
disconcerting a little bit.
Well, it doesn't snow here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Chair,
Those
are
are
you
my
looking for?
comments.
We're looking for a motion?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
I thought
David.
Dave was-
Well,
I thought
I'm
Dave was
sorry,
going
I'm-
there.
Excuse
I
me.
guess I'll make a motion here. I'll move it on to the city council. Is that what we're supposed to do here? I'll go ahead and make this motion that we approve this, recommend approval of the West Gateway Streetscape Beautification Plan and send it on to the city council.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which is the department reports.
We do have one. Yes. Okay. The planning department would like to announce that the city of Hollister would be presenting former chairman Charlie Scott with a plaque and for his service and dedication to the city of Hollister. Chairman Scott was appointed to the Planning Commission on August 7th, 2001 by Councilmember Valdivia and served until July 1st, 2013. And prior to the Planning Commission, Charlie served on the city of Hollister City Council.
A lot more things that Chairman Scott has also done, Chairman Scott has been very instrumental to the Planning Commission, and the City of Hollister is very grateful for his service and dedication. He's a man of integrity and exemplary work ethics. Among many things, he has been instrumental in the review, adoption, and implementation of the general plan, as well as the zoning code. We know that health-wise, he's not doing too good at this time, so let's keep him on our thoughts, our very positive thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
If I may make a comment, when is that date?
Jerry's going to be working on that, and then
Okay, so it's to be determined in the future?
correct.
Okay.
Correct. She just told us.
Well, I'm
told
really,
Joe.
really happy to hear that. Everybody knows how I feel about Charlie.
That's great. All right.
That's it.
Planning Commission reports?
Well, I have a report, Chairman Torres. I attended, I know you were there, Mary, and also Abraham. We were looking at I serve on the Regional Advisory Committee with AMBAG, and we had a little display there at the Veterans Building on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan with the different scenarios. And I think if you've received any emails about taking a survey or are able to attend, I'm talking to my fellow commissioners here, I encourage you to take the survey and attend those workshops if you can. So we're moving forward with it, and it's interesting scenarios. I do have my preference, but I did attend, and it was well done. So that was my report.
And if I can highlight off that too, I know that I went off their AMBAG website, and there's also the survey for the general public if they want to take that survey as well. Okay. Any additional reports? No? Okay, move on to the next item. Entertain a motion for adjournment. Got a motion? Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, our next regular meeting, Thursday, August 22nd, 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff, and you too, Mary.